Hello everyone, I'm here again with yet another lesson for the flute, and in this lesson I'll be teaching you how to play the 7 natural musical notes, also called as Trangomdin, on this C scale flute. And in the previous lesson I assumed that you are already aware with the musical notes and have some basic fingering skills, and also suggested that you look for a video where you can learn how to hold the flute, how to blow, and how to practice your finger. However, it seems like some viewers are not yet familiar with all this and wanted me to make a separate lesson for this, and this is exactly what I'm going to teach you today. And before we actually get into the lesson, there are some theories that you need to know about music. One thing that you need to remember is different countries or region has their own method of naming the pitches of the sound. And this naming is done by assigning certain syllables to each note of the musical scales. For example, in Western music, they call it solfege or sulfa, and the syllables used are do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, do. And similarly, in the Hindustani classical music, they call it sargam, and the syllables are sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. And fortunately or unfortunately, our country or some countries in the Himalayan range, we do not have such naming method. So when we are required to do naming, we often tend to follow do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do of the solfege system. And these are the same syllables that we'll be using throughout the lesson. So getting started with the lesson, first of all let me show you how to hold the flute, and this is how you are going to hold the flute, and it can be either on the right side or on the left side depending on whether you are right-handed or left-handed or whichever way you are comfortable. But the important thing to remember here is if you are playing on the right side like this, then your index, middle and the ring fingers of your right hand should come over the first 3 holes, and index, middle and ring finger of your left hand should come over the last 3 holes like this. And you should never cross your hand and play like this because it will appear clumsy and will cause inconvenience while playing. And similarly, if you are playing on the left side like this, your left fingers should come over the first 3 holes and your right fingers should come over the last 3 holes like this. And now while closing the holes, most tend to use the distal or the first phalange or the tip of the fingers, and it is only appropriate for the smaller flute with the smaller holes. However, if you are going to play bigger flutes with the bigger holes, then this distal phalange will not work. That's why you must use the intermediate or the middle phalange of your finger to cover the holes like this. And now when holding the flute, it needs to be firmly supported by these 2 thumbs like this, and this right thumb should never come below like this, otherwise it will cause inconvenience while playing. And sometimes we use this little finger of the left hand to hold the flute like this when all the last 3 holes are open. So that's all about how to hold the flute and how to cover the holes. And now on how to play the musical notes. The first and foremost note we have is do. To play do, you need to close or cover the first 3 holes and keep the other 3 open like this, and then blow. And these holes must be properly sealed, or otherwise you will end up getting a hissing or undesirable sound. The next note we have is re, and to play re you need to close the first 2 holes like this and then keep the rest open. Now moving on to the third note, which is mi. For mi, you just need to close the first hole, and here it goes. The fourth note is fa, and it's a little tricky because it is the only note that we play half open and half closed on the flute. And to play fa, you need to keep the first hole half closed or half open, and then rest of the holes fully open, like this. Now let's try to play all these four notes from the beginning. Right. Now moving on to the next note, which is so. So will be little difficult, especially for those beginners, because you need to close all 6 holes at a time, like this. However, with meaningful practices, you should feel comfortable in due course of time. The sixth note we have is la, and to play this note, you need to keep all the holes closed except for the last one hole, like this. And similarly for the seventh note, thi, you need to keep all the holes closed except for last 2 holes, like this. Right? So now if we play it from the beginning till the end, it should sound something like this. And then coming back to do. Well, that's all for today's lesson. Practice as much as you can. Get yourself familiar with musical notes and develop your fingering skills at the earliest. Catch you next time when I come up with another lesson.